to start reusing plastic bags, but now it's really come into focus. Can we talk a little bit about plastic in the oceans? Like, how do you think this in particular thing, how did it get so out of hand? And what do you think we can do to help that situation?
Yeah, of course. So I think plastic in the oceans is definitely a main cause of improper waste disposal. So it could either come from, rain or wind sweeping all our litter into the oceans, or our litter ending up in streams or water bodies that eventually lead up to oceans, or just direct littering into oceans. So I think definitely what we can do is obviously disposing your waste properly. So really ensuring your trash goes directly into bins and sorting out your trash whenever you can. So whether it's recyclables, non-recyclables, or compostables, it's always something we can do to sort out our trash, so our trash goes somewhere that can benefit us and the environment in the long run. And also obviously reducing your plastic consumption in the first place to avoid this problem from getting out of hand. And I think definitely another great thing that you can do is talking about the issue. I think just being here on the Zoom call and being part of this discussion really shows that you do care about the environment, and it's so important for you to get your friends and your family on board on this. So definitely talking to really create a stronger community that can fight climate change and just fight this plastic pollution more collectively and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a few specific questions as well. I know a recent modern topic or more common topic about plastics has been microplastics, which I know is a bit more complicated of a topic than it sounds. Can you give us just a bit of a definition or explanation on microplastics?
Yeah, so actually microplastics occur when plastic breaks down to really, really small pieces, which can really be easily consumed by marine animals when they do end up in oceans. And even when we do organize our own coastal cleanups, we do see a lot of microplastics, not only in the waters, but also accumulated and compiled in like grass patches in the parks, and it's so hard to pick up and dispose of because it's so small, but they do really accumulate into a really significant amount in the long run. And I think definitely what we can do or how it can affect us, I think in terms of like food chain wise, or in terms of us consuming seafood, I think there's a lot of pressures or a lot of stress regarding how we actually might be ingesting plastic waste. There hasn't actually been a lot of evidence on that yet, I would say, but it is definitely something that can pose a serious threat to us in the long run. And of course, always the main solution to this is to refuse and then reduce your plastic consumption to just avoid this situation from happening in the first place.
Yeah, it's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that we also have to shift the conversation from just plastics being a form of disposables in terms of like plastic bags or plastic straws, because definitely plastic exists everywhere, even in the fashion industry, which I believe that the waste reduction challenge would be covering as well. Just looking at the materials you're using and whatnot. And really, plastic just exists everywhere. It's just, you have to be mindful about it. And there's so much resources online for you to help you guide your way to reducing plastic consumption.
I remember actually being really surprised that tea bags are made from plastic. And that's, something that you wouldn't, it doesn't seem like plastic, but it is plastic, and it's a big waste problem as well. But it's one that we can easily solve by not using tea bags and just using, tea pots, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I know we're all in the middle of the same thing, dealing with a lot of changes in our life because of COVID-19 and everything that's been happening the past few months. How does this apply to the plastic crisis that's going on? And is it going to teach us ways that we can move forward better in the future?
Yeah, I guess in terms of specifically the plastic problem, at least in Singapore, because right now we are in like a circuit breaker mode, so it's kind of like a lockdown, but not really. But right now, all of the food restaurants and like food businesses can only do takeouts, and this means obviously a rise in disposables, which has been really concerning. So we've been really trying to get people to bring their own reusable containers and whatnot. But also looking back at the whole climate situation, I think a lot of people have been focusing on how it has done good for the environment in terms of reduced emissions from less cars on roads and less air travel. But honestly, that is really just a short-term benefit right now. And I think what we should be focusing on is how we can transition to a better normal after this COVID-19. I did just realize that there are actually quite a lot of young people here, which is refreshing, but also at the same time, I'm trying to simplify what I've really planned to say. But also, like, I think we have to definitely remind people and take a step back and see how the plastic industry is actually linked to the fossil fuel industry. Okay, I'll try to simplify this, but basically the fossil fuel prices have dropped very significantly due to a low demand, and this poses a problem for the long run because it acts as a disincentive to transition towards a more renewable energy system moving forward. So this basically means that given how cheap oil is now, it will disencourage people from really going towards renewables such as solar power, and it can really be really concerning in the long run. So I guess what we can do as consumers or as individuals is definitely practice conscious consumerism, because I think now a lot of people at home are tempted to engage in online shopping. So really just being more conscious about what you buy and what you purchase, and also seeing how you can link the environment to COVID-19. I think there has been a lot of talk on seeing both the health and environment as two separate things, but definitely solutions need to happen that interconnect and definitely point out the interrelationships between health and the environment. Because definitely climate change in itself has brought about so many health issues for so many people, such as air pollution, and detrimental effects to health in that sense. So definitely moving forward, seeing how we can link both solutions in health and the environment to better cope with COVID-19 as well as climate change.
So you're talking about the, like the things that individuals can do. Can you give us like a few tips on a daily basis? What do you think that we can do as individuals to reduce the plastic waste problem?
Yeah, so like I mentioned just now, definitely practicing conscious consumerism. Yeah. So I think there has been a lot of talk on buying metal straws or buying new bamboo brushes, which I guess, yeah, it seems really cool or trendy to a lot of young people, but obviously also seeing what kind of reusables you already have at home. So, you might not need to actually buy a new metal container when you already have a Tupperware or a perfectly good conditioned container lying at home. And also definitely voting with your dollar in a sense, supporting businesses that do practice ethical and sustainable initiatives and commitments, and also seeing how your individual action can influence systemic action to really bring your individual action that step further. So I think right now, the burden of solving the climate crisis has been very overwhelming for individuals or consumers. And I think we definitely need to take this time to hold governments and large-scale corporations accountable for creating these unsustainable systems for us. And definitely we as individuals can influence systemic action by, either emailing your community leader or emailing your business on their environmental commitments to really show that you do care about the environment and you do want your government or your favorite business to really care about the environment as well. So I think definitely trying to see how you can influence systemic action through your individual action. And I think the last thing that we can definitely do is educating yourself and sharing your knowledge. I think all of us here are catalysts of change, and we can definitely use our platform, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, to really get your word out there and create a stronger community to fight climate change. And also just educating yourself, because climate change is such a multifaceted and it's actually a really complicated issue, but there's so many resources out there online, whether it's researching more on the fossil fuel industry or learning more about indigenous communities. There's so much resources out there that you can engage in to better understand the issue.
Yeah, I think it's really special just seeing how many students have come online today to talk about the issue. It shows that it is simpler than it may seem to create a community, to come together and make some changes at home if it's what you really want to be able to do. Definitely. Speaking of, I've heard that your team has just had some at-home waste reduction challenges since you guys have been stuck at home as well. Would you mind sharing that briefly and before we finish up?
Yeah, of course. So it's really interesting because I realized that Cash Chips is also going to do the same thing. So actually we conducted our own climate lockdown challenge starting in April. So it was a 14-day challenge where we got participants to be in group chats, WhatsApp and Telegram group chats, and we would relay one eco task per day. So it could be whether it's sorting out their closet and seeing what they have compiled in their closet, or engaging in recycling, or eating one vegetarian or vegan meal for that day. So basically for each eco task that we send out, we also send out very comprehensive resources for them to accomplish that task. So the main purpose for this climate lockdown challenge was firstly, of course, to remind people that climate action still matters and that we can all act from home, and also to break that stigma that we all have to be perfect to make a difference. Because I think, especially in the scene of climate activism, or just making a difference in general, I think a lot of people have carry this like perfectionistic mindset that you have to be perfect in whatever you do, and you can't fall out in everything. So definitely creating that comfortable and safe environment where we can all, you know, make a difference, and doesn't have to be super stressful or anything. The challenge has ended for us, but we have compiled our resources and they are free and accessible to everyone now online. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna share my screen for just a bit. So right now, if you can see here, this is our Instagram. So if you do look, we do have our link here, which has all resources for the climate lockdown challenge. So here are the climate lockdown resources, which are all free and accessible to anyone who has a link. So we did have a PDF for each of the eco tasks. So let's say for recycling, we listed down all the different labels to really make it easy for everyone to identify and understand. And I think personally, my favorite one was the one on indigenous communities, because one of our participants is actually an indigenous herself, and she actually participated in a UN talk, which was really interesting. And we have included a bunch of links here, which you can also check out. And I hope that this can also be of help for the waste reduction challenge, or even just in general. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, great resources for any of you overachievers out there looking to research even more about everything that can be done to help keep this world sustainable as we move forward. So thank you so much, Sarah. We really appreciate your insights on the plastic waste movement. It's really great to see fellow young people also really wanting to make a change in the world and helping educate others around us. So we really, really appreciate your time, and everyone in the chat can definitely thank you for joining us today. So thank you, Sarah, very much. We really appreciate so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Speaking of her at-home challenge, we're gonna wrap up our Zoom call today with just a couple minutes talking about how our challenge is gonna get started. We're gonna describe this first week of plastic waste reduction and kind of what we're looking for over the week.
Okay, so week one, of course, is the plastic waste reduction challenge. So what we want you to do this week, boys and girls, is to collect all of your plastic waste. One of the things that we're suggesting is to put it in a separate bag or a separate container, label it that it's the waste challenge so it doesn't get disposed of. We recommend to, wash the plastic with soap and water and dry it and put it in a separate container or a separate bag. You might find that you actually have multiple bags. So in addition to collecting the waste, we also want you to take a photo at the end of the week to demonstrate how much waste you've actually collected. We also have a couple of different extra activities. If you've got the time, you can participate in that. And we will meet next week to discuss the second part. If you've got any questions or anything about the submission or anything, don't hesitate to contact us on email. Everything's on the website. All of the worksheets are available. So we'll get you to itemize, the things that you collected, whether it's recyclable, compostable, or not disposable. We just want to gauge how everyone's doing. In addition to that, there's a reflection part that we will do every week. So we'll ask you some questions to reflect on the activity, how you think it went, how you could have done things differently, and also come up with strategies and solutions as to how you can change your behaviour in the future with regards to plastic waste.
Yeah, so we have the worksheets for everyone to be able to submit that. If there's teachers on here, those are great materials and resources for you to work with your groups of students as well. But since we're trying to keep this challenge interactive and usable for everybody, we will also be sharing any content that we find exciting or worthwhile for other people to share on our social media platforms. So if you are posting about your waste reduction on Instagram, please tag us at CastTrips. Use our hashtag CastAtHome. On our Instagram stories, if you tag us, we're happy to reshare you on our Instagram stories. And if there's anything else that you want to showcase, different photos or projects that you've worked on in connection to these projects, you can always email them to us at wastereduction@casttrips.org. All of this info is on our website, casttrips.org/WRC, which stands for Waste Reduction Challenge, what we'll be doing this week. Now we're asking for you to email us. If you email us your completed worksheets, we'll keep that and we'll keep your email in our email list so we can remind you about the upcoming weeks. If you don't want us to keep your email, just let us know, and that is totally fine. We're wrapping up for this week, so we'd like to thank everyone who has participated. We really look forward to seeing what you do. If you're enjoying this and you want to get your friends involved, you're definitely more than welcome to. If you post on Facebook and tag 3 friends, as long as tagging us, we will collect all of those entries and we'll pick the best winning entry at the end of the month to win a free Global Student Conference ticket for 2021. We have 3 locations, Singapore, Boston, and Edinburgh, and the best entry will win a free trip for our Global Student Contest next year. So just tag 3 of your friends in your different challenges that you're doing in waste reduction, and we really look forward to see what you're doing. We have a very special speaker coming next week. Actually, we're really looking forward to talking about food waste. And we hope all of you come and join us here or on our live streams on Instagram or Facebook in the future. Yes, Avery, I hope that you can make a change too. I see you commenting in the chat. I think if we all work together and do a little bit, we'll inspire each other to see what we're doing, and a lot of changes will happen throughout this month. So we really look forward to what everyone works on, and have a great rest of your week.
And see you all on May the 13th in 1 week at 4 p.m. for the Food Waste Challenge. Good luck this week, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.